At this point, I've finished waxing all of the boat. So I've got the gel coat up on the decks, the hull, the shoal draft keel. The only thing that's left is the part that's covered up by these bunks right here on either side. So I'm going to show you how I do that. Alright, so lifting the boat off the trailer to get access to the underside of the hull. So of course you're going to need a hydraulic jack. In this case, this is a 12-ton hydraulic jack. Plenty of capacity there. You're going to need some wood blocks. And so the idea here is that you want to raise the jack as high as you can when you slide it underneath, because if it's extended before it's even touching the keel or lifting the boat, then one, you might run out of space in the jack's full extension, but also it teeters more. So by raising up the jack as high as you can, that maximizes your lift capability, but it also makes it more stable. And then of course you also want one of these underneath the shoal draft keel, and you want to put it so the wood grain is going across the keel, because there's, the keel has a hollow spot in between where the centerboard is, and so if the grain is facing this way, then it could snap. So you want to put it across the keel like this. And if I was trying to get access to the centerboard, then this would have to be all the way in the back of the shoal draft keel so that the centerboard could drop in front of it. But that puts a lot of pressure on the bow, because you're lifting from the back of the boat, and so a lot of the weight is on the bow roller of the trailer. So in this case, I'm going to put it pretty far forward, and granted, where the rollers are is going to limit how far forward I can put it, but that's going to put more of the weight on the hydraulic jack and take it off that bow roller. I also have some Type 4 flotation cushions, which I'm going to squeeze in between, once I lift the boat, in between the bunks and the hull, and that's going to keep the boat from teetering left to right, because once it's on that narrow shoal draft keel, it will move left to right. And the shoal draft keel is designed to take all the weight of the boat. So lifting the boat using the shoal draft keel is not a problem. I also have jack stands at the rear end of the trailer to keep the trailer from tilting backwards. The trailer is not going to move during this operation. And then of course in my garage, I have a tie-down strap actually in the floor of the garage, and so the trailer tongue is also tied down to the garage floor. And then the last thing is that, so I normally keep a bow strap on my boat when it's in the garage, so I got to loosen that bow strap to allow, again, the boat to rise. And also the winch strap for the trailer. I also put a little slack in that, because again, as you lift the boat, it's the bow is gonna rise up a little bit on that bow roller, but you don't want it to go too far, because then potentially the boat could slide forward, and then that would cause the jack to tip. All right, so here we go. So when you first start lifting, what you're going to be doing is you're actually going to be taking the compression out of the suspension of the trailer. So at first the boat isn't really going to move. Alright, so the boat is lifted up off the trailer, and with the outboard motor sitting on the port side, that side is a little heavier. So right now it's tipped onto the port side bunk. So I'm going to go ahead and start working on the starboard side first. So I'm going to put this under here for a little bit of safety, so that way I can put my hands in here without worrying about getting them crushed. Right now the boat actually looks pretty darn clean. So even though there was a lot of staining on the boat, it looks like the hull cleaner actually was able to work its way underneath this bunk. So it looks pretty good right now. But the plan here is to use a soapy sponge to just do some cleaning. If that gets all the stuff off, then I'll go ahead and wax it. If not, I'll do a washcloth with some of the Booyah hull cleaner, and then follow that up with a rinse, just a water rinse, and then wax it. So we'll see how this goes. Alright, so as I got under here with a flashlight, I could see that there is a little bit of staining that was underneath the bunks. So I'm going to go ahead and just do a quick wipe down with the Booyah hull cleaner. Okay, so now after the Booyah hull cleaner, I have to do a rinse before I can apply the wax. Alright, so now I'm ready to follow up with the wax. The hull is dried, and you have to remember that you don't just want to cover the area that was covered with the bunks. You have to go over all the areas that were touched by the hull cleaner as you were doing the cleaning. So it's going to be a little bit of a wider area than just the bunks, because the hull cleaner basically strips any protection off of the hull. So you got to recoat that area with wax. Alright, so now I've let the wax dry, and it's time to buff it out. Alright, so I'm all done waxing underneath the bunks. I've removed the wax, buffed it out a little bit, and the boat's ready to go in the water. Hopefully this is helpful, and thanks for watching.